Let's go live to Ukraine's ambassador to Australia, Vasyl Myroshnychenko. Ambassador, thank you for your time as always. The Albanese government condemned those recent missile attacks by Russia, says that Russia isn't serious about ending the war. It appears Donald Trump, it might be dawning on him as well, Ambassador.
Yes, absolutely. Russians have sent 300 drones and 70 missiles over the weekend, 2 nights in a row. My brother-in-law could not sleep for 2 days in a row, as many other people in Kyiv, my friends. They gave me calls. I was in touch with them. It just, you cannot imagine what it is. Deprivation of sleep is a form of torture. This is what people in Kyiv has gone through the weekend. Last year, when we had an attack of 30 drones at a time, it was considered a massive attack. Now we have 300 drones at a time. Next year, it's going to be 1,000 drones at a time. What air defense system can protect Ukraine or any other country from these kind of weapons, from these kind of capabilities? So what we need to do now, we need to pressure Russia. Russia will only talk about peace and will be serious about it when we exert maximum pressure, which means more sanctions on Russia, more weapons for Ukraine, long-range missiles, more missiles for air defense, more capabilities to inflict damage to the Russian troops on the ground, using Russian assets to buy weapons from Ukraine.
The German Chancellor today announced exactly that, expanding the missile capability that Europe is now going to provide Ukraine in terms of allowing you to hit Russian military targets. How significant is that step?
It's huge. We've been asking for that for the past 3 years. And I'm very pleased that we're finally getting it, because that's the only way Russians will actually talk. And if we force them into peace, we need to force them into peace, because certainly we want peace more than anybody else, but it's all up to Russia at the moment. They can end this war very quickly. They just need to get out of Ukraine. That's it. But now, to get them talking, we need to exert maximum pressure, freeze their banking system, impose sanctions on their shadow fleet carrying oil, stop buying Russian oil, and just do it and use that $300 billion, which are currently immobilized primarily in Europe and in the US, for the benefit of Ukraine, for Ukraine's defense, for Ukraine's rebuild.
You have described your war, this conflict, as next door to Australia. What do you mean by that?
We live in a globalized world, and Russia is a global, is now projecting its power globally. More recently, we've seen joint military naval exercises between Indonesia and Russia, and that was only in November of last year. So Russian fleet was just out here in 1,000 kilometers north of Darwin, for instance. And as you know, Russians have been requesting an air base in Indonesia, for their strategic bombers. They have a large Pacific fleet in Vladivostok. They're cooperating with North Korea. North Koreans fighting Ukrainians in Europe. When was the last time we had, Asians fighting in Europe? This is really extraordinary what is happening, and we're all in the same boat, because what Russia's war in Ukraine is is an assault on liberal democracy, and we are out there protecting it.
You have written an open letter to the Australian people after the election, and I was interested in a few different points that you've wanted to express solidarity and thanks to Australia for its support, but also extending an invitation once again to Prime Minister Albanese to visit Ukraine.
Absolutely. When I had a meeting with Prime Minister in January of this year, he told me that he's going to win the elections and he will visit Ukraine. And I was very pleased he said it, and I was very pleased with the level of relations we're currently having. And he had a great meeting with President Zelensky in Rome, and I had to catch up with the people who were in the room at that meeting, and they've asked me, Vasyl, can you please make sure that Prime Minister comes to Ukraine in June? Because I think that's the right time when we need that support from Australian Prime Minister, who's been so strong on Ukraine during his first term. We really look forward with working with Australia further. We can help Australia build your sovereign defense capabilities based on our experience, based on the lessons learned from Russia's war of aggression in Ukraine. We need your help, but we can also help Australia become stronger. And I think we need to create the capabilities in Australia that will serve as a deterrent based on the lessons that we are now learning from the modern warfare.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. We appreciate your time as always. We'll stay in touch.